In faded photo like a dream, a locomotive under steam rolls with the ranks of marching feet and Union banners on the street. Bring out the banners once again, you Union women, Union men, that all around may plainly see the power of our unity. I've seen those banners richly made, with symbols fair of craft and trade, the Union's names in red and gold, their aspirations printed bold. Bring out the banners once again, you Union women, Union men, that all around may plainly see the power of our unity. Boiler makers, smiths and cooks, stevedores with cargo hooks, declare their union strong and proud, rank on rank before the crowd. Bring out the banners once again, you Union.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this, our first virtual live streaming of a May Day celebration and parade. We're not parading today, but it is great to have the opportunity to bring together everyone. Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land where we're meeting? I'm here today on the Whadjuk land of the Noongar Nation. And wherever you are today, I'm sure that you'll be pausing for a moment to acknowledge those traditional owners of the land where you are, and like me, pay respects to the elders, past, present and emerging. It is great to be here today to be part of a virtual celebration of May Day. And can I thank you all for coming along and being a part of this event. I think many of you I know, but for those of you I haven't met, I'm Meredith Hammett, the Secretary of Unions WA. And so, of course, this year we can't be together, unfortunately, as we normally would be down at Fremantle on the Esplanade on the first Sunday in May for our parade and our festival. But we are here together in spirit and in strong solidarity on this forum to celebrate what is a really important day for the trade union movement, not just here in WA, but in fact the trade union movement all around the world. So as part of building solidarity here today, I know many of you have already shared your name, told us about which union you're from, where you are today, and I'd love it if people could do that in the comments if you're watching us on Facebook, or via the chat function if you're watching on Zoom today. And if you are wearing your union shirt, and I know many people are, we'd love it if you could take a selfie, post that shirt either in the comments if you're on Facebook, but perhaps post it in your social media as well, so that not just we can see it, but it can be shared widely with all your friends and networks as well. We'll shortly be hearing from some great speakers, including Sally McManus, Secretary of the ACTU, and we've also got a message from Governor Kim Beazley. But before we did that, I really wanted to reflect a little bit on May Day. You can't see it easily on the Zoom today, but I'm wearing a great May Day T-shirt, which goes back to 1998 and includes on it the logo that you would have seen on the video while we were waiting, the logo that identifies a right to work, a right to rest, a right to play, and importantly, rights for all. And I think it is a great shirt and a great message that really encapsulates and reminds us that May Day originated as part of the union movement's campaign to win the 8-hour working day. And we saw some of those great scenes, great footage from the 8-hour day campaigns in Perth when we were fighting that fight. But over the years, of course, May Day has become much more than just a celebration of the 8-hour working day. Now on May Day, we celebrate and remember all of the things that the union movement has won for working people. So that's not just the 8-hour day, as you know. That's really important things like penalty rates, like overtime, things like a decent minimum wage that people can live on and support their families on. We've won the right to safe workplaces. We've won the right to paid time off for annual leave or time off if we're too sick to work. And importantly, we've won time off to care as well for our kids and our families if they are sick or when our children are first born. We've won superannuation and things like universal healthcare through the Medicare system, as well as much, much more. So May Day is a time of celebrating those great improvements in working conditions that mean working people don't just have good work lives, but they can have good lives and be an important part of society. But on May Day, we also celebrate our solidarity, which is what we've built our union movement on. It's by sticking together and fighting for what we know is right and necessary that we've delivered those better working conditions and better lives for the working people that we represent. So today is a great day where we celebrate our solidarity with each other and, in fact, solidarity with union members and working people right around the world who celebrate on the 1st of May. And as part of that, we recognise the many fantastic union members that make us strong. So the men and women who join our union movement, they join our fight because they're committed to making sure that everyone has work that's decent, that's fair, that's safe and secure. And some of the best people you'll ever meet are union members, and you'll meet them through the union movement fighting for what they know is right. And I just want to reflect as well that often on May Day, we stop and remember the history of our struggle, the great campaigns we've fought over the years. And in WA, in recent May Days, we've remembered some really important struggles. We commemorated the third wave dispute and the establishment of Solidarity Park. We recognised the Pilbara strike that was held in 1946 when Indigenous workers walked off pastoral stations in the northwest. We remembered the waterfront dispute, and we remembered last year the death of Tom Edwards in Fremantle's Bloody Sunday riots. And I think it's worth remembering that this year on May Day, I think we are living ourselves in historic times. There's no doubt that coronavirus is having an unprecedented impact on our jobs, on our work, on our safety, as well as our families, our economy and society. And we don't yet know what the outcome of all this will be. We don't yet know what future generations will say about this time when they gather at the Fremantle Esplanade to celebrate May Day in years to come. But there's no doubt that the current circumstances provide us with a great opportunity. And I think we've got a responsibility to try and use this moment to do what we've always done, and that is to fight for the things that we know are right, the things that we've always believed in, and the things that we know we must win for the working people we represent. So it's time for us to renew our commitment to fighting for decent and fair work, for safe workplaces, and importantly, for secure jobs. We know, and we've always known, that Conservative governments and bosses don't just give us the things that we know we need to build good lives for our members and to build a fair society. We've always had to fight for them. We've always had to stand together to win those things. And we know that in these times of historic change that we're living in, that there will come challenges and threats, and it's up to us to stand together to fight back against that and to try and win what we know we need to build a strong movement into the future and decent work for our members into the future. So I really wanted to, on this most unusual of May Days, recognise that even though we can't come together and enjoy the festival in Fremantle and march together through the streets and bring out our flags and banners, what we can do is recommit to one another. We can recommit to our values. We can recommit to what we believe in. And recommit, importantly, to the fight that our movement's always had, which is to win decent work for our members, safe workplaces, and the ability to have secure and meaningful jobs. So thanks for joining us today. Please keep sharing your comments on the chat function, making comments on Facebook Live. We're now going to go to a message from the Governor for Western Australia, Kim Beazley, a long-term part of the Labor movement in this state and indeed around Australia, who's recorded for us a special message to commemorate and to mark May Day today.
Friends, it's good to be able to talk to you here on May Day with Unions WA, reflecting on the fact that May Day in the Northern Hemisphere is a season of renewal, and the circumstances in which we find ourselves now are in a great deal of need for renewal. It's the circumstances in which we reflect most deeply on those members of the labour movement who are particularly directly engaged with dealing with the COVID pandemic. We have on our hearts the all too many members of health organisations globally who have borne the brunt of the reaction and have died or found themselves falling ill in the process. There's a lot amongst our numbers here. There's a lot of very brave healthcare workers who are prepared, often in inadequate conditions in other countries, not so bad here, to take on the task of ensuring as much community safety as possible. This is not going to go away anytime soon. So those amongst our numbers who, in particular, who are healthcare workers, will be substantially on our hearts. But there are many others engaged too. There are so many out there provisioning our community, keeping it going with the essential goods that it needs and the essential services that it needs. Those are also, though not quite so strongly as the healthcare workers, are laying their lives on the line in all of this. And what we need to appreciate this May Day is the big picture around this country of how critical it is that the skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled workers are to sustaining the character of our community. When I was a kid and I used to hang around Trades Hall, that was back in the 1960s, the secretaries of the unions, officials and others, because they were all collectively in one location in those days, used to tell me about Sir Charles Gardner, the then state governor, who used to come around knocking on the doors of the various union secretaries, sitting down, chatting through with them how the workforce was experiencing life. And I always thought that was a very good example. Not so easy to do now. It's a different sort of world. Everybody is more diversely occupied. But every now and then, it's useful for somebody like myself to do the equivalent. And so, in a sense, I'm knocking on all of your doors and telling you that the efforts of your members who are engaged directly and indirectly in meeting the consequences of this pandemic are deeply respected. We understand too, of course, how vital the unions are in any democratic situation. A democracy is often measured by the extent to which it allows its ordinary citizens to organise, to protect and advance their rights in their living conditions. If that is in any way suppressed, that is when you begin to see democracies undermined. So that's looking long-term and broadly, but more narrowly today, we look at the way in which your fellow members in Unions WA are now engaged in making life safer for all of us.
Great to hear from our Governor, Kim Beazley, there today, giving particularly a shout out to so many workers who are on the front line during these really difficult times and are helping to keep us safe, helping to keep things still running. And so it's great to have the opportunity to hear from him today. I did want to say a few people who have joined us. Can I acknowledge Janine Freeman, MLAs, joined with us, of course, a long-time participant in May Day down in Freo. We've got people with us today, including from the CSA, so including Ricky Hendon, their secretary. Welcome. Can I give a shout out as well to Jill Hugo, the Assistant Secretary from the ASU, who's joined us online, as well as people from the Teachers Union, the United Workers Union, and also can I welcome Cheryl Hamill, President of the Health Services Union here in WA. It's great to have you a part of our proceedings. So keep commenting, keep sharing in the chat function. We've got I believe, about 50 people joining us here today, which is really great. So it's great to feel the sort of solidarity between us all. It's now a great pleasure to introduce Sally McManus, the ACTU Secretary, who's with us again on May Day today, who would have been with us if things were as they were more normal, would have been with us on the Esplanade and Fremantle on Sunday. But we're really delighted to have the opportunity for you to be a part of these proceedings today. Looking forward to hearing what you've got to say, Sally.
Thank you, Meredith. Hello, comrades. Happy May Day. I'm joining you from the land of the Thurl people in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, but of course I'd much prefer to be with you all in Fremantle, but not this year. You've got to acknowledge, first of all, up front, what a hard time this is for so many of our comrades, so many of our friends and our families. So many working people have lost their jobs during this pandemic. Casuals were some of the first people to be let go, and not all of them, of course, are covered by JobKeeper. Also, visa workers are also in a similar situation to them. Whole industries have been really badly affected, shut down, people losing their jobs, like the arts and entertainment industry, obviously retail and hospitality as well. Many workers have also had their hours cut right across the board in so many different industries as businesses shut down or slow down. But for some of us, we've been working much longer hours. So obviously people in our healthcare system, but also in our supermarkets have been working very long hours. So many of us are also working from home at the moment. Around 30% of the whole workforce is working from home. And that comes with its own challenges, of course, challenges in terms of isolation and mental health. And also for those people who've had children at home over a period of that is extra tough when you're meant to be working too. Then, of course, there's all of our essential workers who during this pandemic have kept things going. In particular, as Kim Beazley said, the sacrifice of workers around the world who are healthcare workers and aged care workers, community care workers. We know the death rates for healthcare workers in other parts of the world have been very high, and it's such a tragic thing and such a sacrifice for working people to make. I think one thing out of this pandemic is that here in Australia, but also around the world, workers have never been more important in terms of how we're seen in general by governments, but also by our fellow citizens. And I think it's acknowledged that, or understood that during this pandemic, it hasn't been the billionaires that have kept the place going, have made sure that we've had food, have made sure that our essential services run, have been there to care for the sick. It's not been them. They've been holed up in their mansions. It's not been the hedge fund managers or the CEOs of the big corporations. It's been working people, frontline workers, often low-paid workers, award workers that have kept us all supported, the whole economy, our whole society supported. And you think about what's happening at the moment, there's a huge struggle going on globally between the billionaires and really the rest of us. Not all the billionaires, but a hell of a lot of them want economies to be open. I don't like the fact that so many governments have made decisions to shut down at an economic cost, and one that we're bearing, but because of the need to save lives. And it's been so stark to see the reaction when we've had, on one hand, the choice of saving lives, on the other hand, relatively short-term economic pain. So many of them have not been prepared to wear that and have pushed these theories like herd immunity to say that we should just keep the economy going so that their profits can keep coming in at this time, and how immoral and disgusting that is. You look at President Trump, he's absolutely of that view, and what's happening in parts of the US, the absolute disaster, that tragedy of New York City, but is now spreading across the whole country because that country doesn't have a proper health system, and because that country is run by billionaires that put profits before anything else. In the UK too, even though they've made some good decisions, they've followed similar path. And the underfunding of their hospital system for so long under their austerity measures, you can now see the effect of that. And here in Australia, we've not been immune from those arguments. There's been a big pull here between big business who's been pushing and pushing and pushing for everything to reopen as quickly as possible, and without concern really about the public implications. And we in the trade union movement, just like others, have put public health first. Public health first, it's about saving lives. Yes, it's also about saving jobs, but we can never be in a position where we put profits before human life. I wanted to say this. As of today, businesses that signed up to JobKeeper on the 1st of May are getting the money paid to them for the last 6 weeks. There is going to be about 1.5 to up to 2 million, maybe more, workers on JobKeeper, and they will be getting $750 a week. They are getting that money because of us, the trade union movement of Australia. We're the ones who fought for that. We're the ones who made the arguments, who campaigned. So everyone who's receiving JobKeeper really has to thank the trade union movement for that. We also argued for the increase to JobSeeker as well. So the difference between JobSeeker and JobKeeper is about $200 a week. Now, $200 a week, of course, would easily cover union fees. We never had a better opportunity to be talking about the importance of unions and the importance of joining unions in the context of what's happened. Last week, polling came out that said the trust of the trade union movement in Australia has gone up by 10 points in just 1 month, which has been a huge increase. And it's like the years and years and years that the governments have spent demonising us have been wiped out in a period of 6 weeks. So, and that's because working people can see, we're in their corner. We're in their corner when times get tough. We don't shy away from anything that has to be done to defend them, and we're the people that do that. And so it's never been a better time to talk to people about joining their union than now. Finally, I wanted to say that we all talk a language of solidarity, and we understand what solidarity means because we're trade unionists, because we're about supporting each other and sticking together. But it's sort of like the whole of the country is getting, or the world maybe, is getting a lesson in solidarity. Really, it's what social distancing is about. It's not necessarily about you yourself getting sick. It's about protecting everyone else. And it's, when you're out, seeing other people at the supermarket or elsewhere, and you know that it's a tough time, sharing that smile, sharing that encouragement that we do to each other, knowing really that it's working together and looking after each other as a big human family is what counts in the end. So I just wanted to say, long live May Day, solidarity to everyone.
Thanks very much, Sally, for that message. And I think, really important message about global solidarity and the opportunity for everyone to experience that in these most extraordinary of times. I did want to acknowledge a few other people who have joined us today. Can I give a shout out to Jan McFarlane, long-term part of the labour movement in this state, and still a tireless volunteer for many campaigns. It's great to have you with us today, Jan. Very welcome. And can I also acknowledge we've got Tony from the SDA who joined us again. That's a union representing workers in the retail sector who are really doing extraordinary work at the moment. And so it's great to have you with us. Nadia from the NTU, again, industry that is being dramatically affected by the impact of coronavirus. So for everyone who's come online today, it's great to have you part of the proceedings here today. So thank you for joining us. I did want to mention a couple of things because the fun of May Day is not over when the speeches finish. There is, of course, a Best Dressed Union Dog competition again this year. There's already been quite a bit of hot competition, but take a photo of your dog in its best union outfit and you can email that to us at Unions WA by 5 p.m. today if you want to be in the running for one of the prizes, and send it to admin@unionswa.com.au. So that's the Best Dressed Dog, always hotly contested, as I said. And we've also got a kids colouring competition today. which has been running. So again, you can download the picture, and again by 5 p.m. today, those are due. So again, email it to admin@unionswa.com.au. There's prizes in both of those competitions, and I know people will be keen to be a part of it. But of course, as part of the day, wear your T-shirt, talk to your colleagues about why May Day is so important to us, ask them to join a union. Be sure to raise a toast this evening to working people everywhere, to the union movement and to our solidarity. And we'll look forward to May Day next year, where we will be once again marching through the streets of Fremantle and continuing, as we always do, the fight for a better working life for the working people we represent.
Comrades, are you ready for a little solidarity? Yes. Our last song has become a worldwide union song. The words written in 1915 to a much older song, has become a worldwide union rallying call. To the tune of the Battle Hymn of the Republic and words written by union activist Ralph Chaplin, we give you Solidarity.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Is there aught we hold in common with the greedy parasite, who would lash us into serfdom and would crush us with his might? Is there anything left for us to do but organize and fight? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle not a single wheel can turn. We can bring to heart and power gain of freedom when we learn, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than the hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to earth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
I hope you had your fists in the air. I hope you're singing that at the top of your voice. That is, of course, a traditional May Day event to be singing Solidarity Forever as part of proceedings. So thank you for joining us here today. Enjoy May Day, and we'll look forward to the next May Day where we can come together and march in our traditional way. Solidarity to you all.